Here's Clark with Banham guarding her. Clark gets bumped, will take, and hit from three.
She stepped onto the basketball court and changed every preconceived notion of what a women's hoop star could accomplish. Yet, for all her fearless half-court shots and lightning-fast passes, there's another side to Caitlin Clark's story that most people haven't uncovered. How does an athlete bursting with so much raw energy keep the momentum going when the cameras are off and the noise quiets down? The answer may not be what you expect.
Behind the back, Clark. That's pretty.
And it's precisely why so many fans, critics, and fellow players can't stop talking about her. Clark's rise felt like a whirlwind to fans on the outside, but for those who watched her dominate since high school, it was more like a ticking clock. Everyone knew a breakout was coming. It was just a question of when. By the time she started racking up triple-doubles in college, the excitement reached a fever pitch.
Clark wheels around, evades Van Lith, and drains it! My goodness!
People marveled at how she made highlight reel plays look simple. Yet behind the scenes, whispers began circulating. Could one single player really carry that much hype? Some insisted her game was built mostly on flashy long-distance shots, lacking the substance needed against tougher competition. Others claimed she was the future of basketball.
Clark gets away with a little push. Fall away.
Someone capable of dismantling decades-old barriers. Either way, the debates and rumors took on a life of their own, giving Clark a reputation that transcended her stats. But that was just the opening act. As her name grew more prominent, so did the list of potential rivals. Online chatter hinted at underlying tensions with other star players who felt overshadowed by Clark's spotlight. Was there animosity brewing between her and certain NCAA or WNBA standouts? While none of these rumored feuds have ever been confirmed, fans poured fuel on the fire with every social media post, dissecting each sidelong glance at mid-court. Speculation also swirled around whether she was being overhyped too soon, setting her up for a monumental backlash if she couldn't measure up at the pro level.
And off and running, Caitlin Clark whips a pass.
Yet for every critic waiting for her to stumble, there were a dozen more ready to swear she was on track to become an all-time icon. But here's the thing. Clark seemed neither rattled by the naysayers nor overly flattered by the praise. She was plotting her next move, and the off-season became ground zero for her most audacious plans yet. Forget the champagne celebrations or social media victory laps. Clark's off-season quickly turned into a series of daily workouts so intense they left seasoned trainers wide-eyed. She starts each morning by drilling 100 three-point shots before breakfast. Then it's on to another few hundred from mid-range and inside the paint, ensuring every angle and speed is second nature. Observers say it's reminiscent of Steph Curry's relentless dedication. Every repetition cements her muscle memory, so those game-winning shots become as automatic as breathing. But shooting is only one piece of her arsenal. Multiple coaches are brought in to test her ball handling under stress. Simulated double teams and half-court traps become the norm, mirroring the kind of defense she might face in the WNBA. They say she treats every practice like a puzzle to solve, adding new hesitation dribbles, crossovers, or step-back maneuvers to her repertoire. It's not just about beating the first defender. It's about staying several moves ahead. And just when it seems like we've seen everything, she unveils another twist to her training approach. But that wasn't the whole story. Because if you think her off-season is merely about skill drills, you're in for a surprise. Standing at 6 feet tall and weighing around 155 pounds, Clark already carries a commanding presence. However, she knows the WNBA will pit her against ferocious defenders unafraid to body her up in the lane. That's where her strength regimen comes in. Squats, lunges, and explosive plyometrics form the foundation of her lower body workouts, boosting her ability to drive through contact and finish strong at the rim. Core stability and balance exercises follow close behind, ensuring she's ready to handle collisions in midair without losing control of the ball. She's studied how legendary guards like Diana Taurasi and Sabrina Ionescu use subtle shifts of weight to keep defenders guessing, and she's determined to absorb their tactics. Observers note that Clark isn't trying to bulk up just for show. She wants functional power that translates into unstoppable drives and fadeaway jumpers. Her stamina training is equally daunting. High-intensity intervals, full-court sprints, and marathon shooting drills until the legs feel like lead. By the end of an off-season day, sweat-drenched clothes and trembling calves become the norm. But to her, it's all worth it if it means eclipsing the competition. In an era where physical prowess often takes center stage, Clark sets herself apart with an emphasis on mental readiness. She'll spend hours combing through game footage, not just of herself, but of top-tier defenders across the league.
Done inside the arc. Here is Clark with some space. Clark behind the back. Oh, showing off the moves. It's busted.
Whenever she spots a pattern in how opponents rotate or trap, she logs it in her mental checklist, determined to neutralize that tactic in the future. Film study is only half the story, though. Clark also engages in decision-making drills orchestrated by specialized coaches. They devise real-time scenarios, like a sudden defensive switch or unexpected double team, and watch how quickly she adapts. Her voice never wavers when she says she wants to be the best, and those close to her confirm that she's not just reciting a hollow catchphrase. She's relentless in pursuit of every edge, whether it's strategic reads or emotional composure under pressure. While other players may rely on their talent alone, she's combining intellect with athletic ability, forming a powerhouse formula that's tough to stop. And what happened next would shock everyone, because even the hardest-working athletes need an escape from the grind. So how does Clark unwind when she finally steps out of the gym? Believe it or not, she's often found on the golf course. There's something about the quiet intensity of golf, where each swing demands precision and composure, that mirrors her approach on the basketball court. She famously teed off at the John Deere Classic Pro-Am, reminding everyone that competition doesn't end once she steps off the hardwood. Outside of sports, she might pop up at a summer music festival or a sold-out concert for her favorite singer. Observers say she's fully in the moment when she's dancing around with friends, but somewhere in the back of her mind, that competitive spark still smolders. She'll analyze everything, from the musician's stage presence to the crowd's energy, and channel that inspiration back into her own performance on the court.
Look at the tie last year's winning record.
Clark from way down.
It's a constant cycle of taking in the world and translating those lessons into unstoppable determination. With all the hype swirling around Clark's name, it's no surprise that the rumor mill never sleeps. Some claim she's eyeing a particular WNBA franchise as her future home, while others believe she'll spark a new era of endorsement deals for women's basketball. A handful of fans even wonder if she'll alter the entire culture of the league, drawing in bigger crowds and forging new rivalries.
Wheeler finds Clark from the logo.
And then there are the critics who remain unconvinced. They argue that no one can live up to the avalanche of praise she's received, that eventually the pressure will break her. Clark's silence on these points only amplifies the mystique. Rather than constantly addressing rumors, she channels every ounce of energy back into training. Each speculative headline just seems to sharpen her focus. Where one athlete might buckle under such scrutiny, Clark appears to thrive on it.
Clark has space. She's going to let it fly, and she's going to connect.
In the end, Caitlin Clark's off-season is more than just a series of workout sessions. It's a blueprint for how a raw talent can evolve into a phenomenon that redefines the limits of the game. She's fusing tireless shooting drills, rigorous strength conditioning, and unrelenting mental preparation, all while navigating swirling controversies and whispered rivalries. The best part? This story is far from over. As she edges closer to her next chapter, whether that's dominating another college season or storming the ranks of the WNBA, one thing is certain. Clark isn't content to just make a splash. She wants to create an enduring impact, one that sends shockwaves through the basketball world for years to come. Will she become the league's next GOAT? Or will the weight of her own ambition slow her down? That's the question that keeps everyone watching, waiting, and speculating. One thing's for sure. If you think you've already seen the pinnacle of her talent, you'd better brace yourself because Caitlin Clark's story is still being written. And the next chapter might just rewrite everything we know about the game.